Hello everybody. Today we are going to see about the failures in fixed prosthodontics. So the learning objectives are in this session to describe the factors affecting the success of FPD, to classify and grade the failures, to explain the causes and management of failure, various failures such as biological, mechanical and aesthetics, and to describe how to perform removal of the failed restorations. The success of fixed partial denture depends upon three factors: biological, mechanical and aesthetics. So if these factors are properly working, then the FPD is successful in the long term. But even if one of the factors are not working in favor of the longevity, then there will be a problem. So what are the different factors? Here we have listed some of them: adequate retention, support and stability, easily kept clean by natural self-cleansing action of the mouth, no abnormal or harmful forces on the abutment teeth, not conducive to pathological conditions, promoting the health of adjacent tissues and does not cause the further damage, and it should last throughout the greater part of the patient's life, and it should be aesthetically acceptable. So these are the success criteria for the fixed partial denture. So after that factors of the responsible for the success, we have a system which can grade or classify the failures depending on the severity. Now this class is having class till 1 and 6. So class 1 is the one in which the cause of failure is correctable without replacing the restoration. So very mild kind of a situation. Class 2, where the cause of failure is correctable without replacing the restoration. However, supporting tooth structure or foundation requires repair or reconstruction. Class 3 is the failure requiring restoration replacement only. Okay. So class 1 and class 2 can be managed without replacing the restoration, but class 3 we have to replace the restoration. The supporting tooth structure and the foundation are acceptable. But as the situation worsens, in class 4 we have the failures where the restoration requires the replacement. In addition to that, we have to repair or reconstruct the supporting tooth structure or foundation. In class 5, there is a severe failure with loss of supporting tooth or inability to reconstruct using original tooth support. The fixed prosthodontic replacement remains possible through use of other additional support of the restoration, that is redesigning the restoration using maybe other tooth or some implants, but fixed restoration can be given. But in class 6 we have severe failure where there is loss of supporting tooth or inability to reconstruct using original tooth support, and conventional fixed prosthodontic replacement is not possible. So as we have seen, the grades are worsening from class 1 to class 6. In class 5 and class 6 it is a severe failure, but in class 6 FPD is no longer possible, right? So these are the classification proposed for the failures depending on the severity. Now let us come to understand why this kind of failure occurs. What are the causes of failures? Failures can be of three types, as we have seen already in the success also, that there are three factors affecting the success: biological, mechanical and aesthetics. Likewise, there are three factors which are responsible for the failures: biologic, mechanical and aesthetics. So what are the biological failures? They can be because of caries, pulp degeneration, periodontal breakdown, occlusal problem and tooth perforation. Mechanical failures, they can occur because of loss of retention, connector failure, occlusal wear, tooth fracture, veneer loss and porcelain fracture. And aesthetic failures can occur depending on the clinical situation. There are various reasons. So these are the gross causes of failure. Now let us see them in detail. How do the failure manifest? What is the manifestation? Okay, you can see here in these pictures there is a pain, there is a radiological sign of failure, the entire tooth and the fixed bridge has come out. Okay, again here radiological sign, again the crown has come off. You can see various signs of attrition and loss of retention and everything. Here there is a dislodged PFM. So likewise you can have various manifestation. Okay, so what are the manifestations? Loosening of the fixed partial denture, loss of function, loss of tissue tone or form, failure to seat, defective occlusion and galvanic shock. So these are the few manifestations. Now these type of failures can also be classified according to the failure causes into these three categories, like failure due to improper case selection and diagnosis, failure due to improper execution of treatment, failure due to improper maintenance. Okay, so these are this is the another way of classifying the failures. Now again it can also be classified according to whether who is responsible for failure. So factors related to dentist, factors related to technician and factors related to patient. So clinical, laboratory and maintenance failures. Now let us come to biological failures. Okay, so what are the biological failures, why they occur and how to manage them. So biological failures can occur due to various reasons. The first and foremost is the caries. Recurrent or new caries with the abutment tooth is the leading cause of failure of fixed prosthodontics. There are two types of lesions which can develop. One which develop at the margins between the tooth and the restoration, and the second ones which develop on the part of the root surface distant to the margin of the restoration. It can manifest in pain and discomfort, cavitation, surface roughness and softness of the tooth, opacification, food lodgement, hot and cold sensation, discoloration, fracture of the tooth, loss of tooth substance and rarefaction is seen in the X-ray. So you can see here what are the causes. First and foremost is defective margin placement, overhanging, under extension, over contouring, under contouring. Okay, so this is the reason, and you can see clinically also you can see that it is the problem with the margin. Then there will be perforation. Sometimes the FPD can be perforated either because there is excessive bruxism or excessive masticatory forces, or there is a problem with the design. Already there was a thin metal and it has perforated. Then there is a problem because of oral hygiene maintenance. All this can lead to formation of caries and subsequent biological failure. Another very important reasons which are listed here are wearing a loose FPD for a long time, where the micro leakage goes on happening and the condition goes on worsening. Then there will be improper temporization which has led to incipient caries which progress over a period of time. Poor pontic form which fills the embrasure, and there is a problem with the maintenance of the oral hygiene, and surface roughness which give invitation to formation of plaque and subsequent calculus formation and degradation, and dissolution of the luting cement. If it is not of a good quality cement, then dissolution of luting cement is also a cause of biological failures, especially formation of caries. Now how do we manage such type of problems? So restore the carious part and advise on the proper maintenance of the oral hygiene. If caries extend occlusally beyond the margins of the retainer, remove the fixed partial denture, explore the tooth and reconstruct. Open margins and underextended margins require remaking of the prosthesis. Loose fixed partial denture should be discarded and remade. In case of poor pontic design and embrasure form, remake with proper pontic design. So this is how we can manage. Now it is very important to prevent it before management. We should also know about the prevention. So most of the patients are not very keen on maintenance of the oral hygiene with the new FPD. They don't realize the importance, and therefore oral hygiene instructions is the most important aspect. Apart from that, we can have dietary counseling, sugarless chewing gum, fluoride rinses with 0.05% of sodium fluoride daily, use of fluoridated toothpaste, and lactobacillus and streptococcus count for caries susceptible subjects. So these are the methods by which we can prevent the formation of caries. Apart from this, important thing is proper designing of FPD, which includes margin extension and adaptation, temporization, Pontic and embrasure form. Discard the FPD with any discrepancy like poor margins, I have already told you, and patient should be properly educated regarding the maintenance of oral hygiene. So this was about the first factor, that is caries. Then there is something called as pulpal and periapical degeneration, which can be manifested as pain on percussion, sensitivity to hot and cold, tenderness, and apical pathology on X-ray. So what are the causes? Now here we have to understand that it does not manifest immediately, but in a long period of time it will give you symptoms and you will have to address it. The causes are inefficient cooling or too rapid preparation of the tooth. Okay, this can cause a thermal damage, and the pulp can be under stressed condition and it may degenerate over a period of time. Lack of protection of the prepared abutment during construction, or you have not given a provisional restoration and that is why the tooth is again stressed out. Residual caries are there, occlusal trauma, defective margins, all this can cause pulpal and periapical degeneration. Now how do we manage this? Endodontic treatment followed by remaking of the FPD, relieving of premature contacts and occlusal equilibration. So these are the management strategies. Now how to prevent this? Proper diagnostic and restorative treatment should be done before we start the prosthetic treatment. Use of high-speed handpiece with feather-light touch. Use of water spray specifically on the cutting end of the burr. Temporization, well-contoured temporaries with proper adaptation. Proper occlusal equilibration and proper designing with well-extended and adapted margins. Now coming to the periodontal degeneration. The periodontal degeneration manifests in the form of gingival enlargement, mobility of the abutment, deepening of the pocket, loss of supporting structures, deposition of calculus. So these are the signs and symptoms. The causes are over or under protected gingival and ridge tissues, excess pressure on the tissues, faulty contact area, and too few abutment teeth. So these are all the reasons for periodontal breakdown. Another reasons are impression technique, where excessive pressure is given, and oversized improperly positioned food table, and poor oral hygiene. So you can see in this picture that if you are not careful for margin placement, gingival retraction and subsequent impression, it can lead to gingival recession and subsequent periodontal breakdown. How do we manage this problem? Is by for over contoured areas, they can be reshaped and repolished. For under contoured areas, FPD needs to be reconstructed. Improper clearance, occlusal clearance, we have to reconstruct the FPD. Oversized Pontics, FPD must be removed, tissues should be allowed to reorganize and FPD is reconstructed. A removable irritant, if it is there, food lodgement or certain areas where there is a chunk of some food or some plaque is accumulated, the area should be cleaned. In case if there is a faulty contact, we should prepare a contact in such a way that it is ideal. Now ideal location of the contact is shown in this picture. Okay. So whenever we are making a FPD, we have to make sure that such are the location point of the contact when we see from the side or buccal view, and when we see from the occlusal view, this is the location of the contact points. So we should be very careful regarding the location of the contact, the thickness of the connector and the subsequent embrasures, gingival and occlusal embrasures. So they should be properly carved and properly made so that there is no food accumulation. Now coming to temporomandibular joint disorders, which may cause because of the fixed partial denture that we are giving. So they can manifest in the form of clicking and pain in temporomandibular disorder after we deliver the fixed partial denture, tenderness, widening of the periodontal ligament, mobility of abutments, burnishing of the metal, loss of function, over eruption, drifting, periapical degeneration. Now, what are the causes? The most common cause is premature contact. Okay, the part of FPD that is delivered is coming in contact before the rest of the dentition, and this is called as the premature contact. Out of occlusion, okay, there is no occlusion, loss of tooth in the opposing arch. So these are the causes which can lead to problem with the temporomandibular joint. How do we manage this? Very easy is to do occlusal equilibration. See whether there is a proper intercuspation, whether there is any interference. If there is interference, we have to recontour the offending cusp, and if there is a missing tooth, there should be reconstruction of the opposing arch. How can we prevent such things? Malocclusion should be treated before fabrication of fixed partial denture. If we are suspecting that there is some problem with the bite, if it is a cross bite, if it is a plunger cusp, if it is open bite, all this should be done beforehand, that is in the pre-prosthetic phase. Occlusal equilibration should be done prior to the fabrication of FPD and also at the time of cementation. During the treatment planning, proper reconstruction of occlusion should be considered. Missing teeth in the same and opposing arch, tilted, drifted teeth should be managed prior to the fabrication of FPD. So this will ensure that there is less chance of TMD problem because of the fixed partial denture that we are giving. Now the other problem that can arise is damage to the perioral tissues. It can manifest in the form of pain and discomfort, ulceration, swelling, difficulty in mastication. So these are the issues that the patient can report to you. What are the causes? The causes can be oversized occlusal table, overjet, overbite, which is not in proper protocol, improperly finished and polished prosthesis, and material used. So the material also can cause allergic reactions. So these are the reasons of damage to the perioral tissues. Now I have to say here that overjet and overbite, if they are not proper, it can lead to lip biting, okay, and it can cause damage to the soft tissues during eating, speaking, and so on. So how do we manage this situation? For oversized occlusal table, narrow distance between the cusp tips by reducing the buccolingual measurement, often at the expense of the lingual cusp. Embrasure can be widened by diminishing the lingual cusp. Auxiliary escape groove can be cut through the marginal ridge to both lingual and buccal connectors. FPD should be contoured properly to allow sufficient overjet and overbite to prevent cheek biting and lip biting. An unfinished FPD should be removed, finished and polished properly and then re-cemented. In case of allergy, the FPD should be removed and remade with a different material. Now how to prevent this? The prevention can be done in following ways. Occlusal table should be carved properly with embrasures and escape grooves. Sufficient overbite and overjet should be provided to the prosthesis. Before cementing, it should be adequately finished and polished, and proper history for any allergy should be taken from the patient. So these are the factors which will give us very good upper hand to avoid the biological failures. So now in the part 2 of the failures, we have to see the mechanical failures. Now mechanical failures can occur because of various reasons. The first we will see failure to seat. Now manifested as FPD not seating completely, improper margin adaptation. So at the time of the cementation or whenever the patient comes off with dislodged prosthesis, when you try to seat the FPD, it is not seating the way it should. So what are the causes? The causes can be very importantly that there is abutment preparation which is not parallel, there is presence of undercuts, uncontoured temporary. So you can see that in this picture that the failure to seat is because of the unparalleled preparation. Okay, so this is the reason why the FPD cannot seat properly. How to manage this? If abutment preparation is not parallel, one or more teeth must be prepared. re-prepared and associated retainers are reconstructed. In case of presence of undercuts, the abutment should be re-prepared and prosthesis reconstructed. How do we prevent this? Abutment preparation should be made parallel with mediodistal inclination parallel to the contact areas of adjacent teeth. As you can see here, that the adjacent teeth and the tooth that is being prepared, the mediodistal surfaces should be parallel. During the tooth preparation of FPD, undercut should be avoided and slight convergence or taper should be given. Ideally, it is 6 to 12 degrees. Contours of treatment restoration should resemble those of natural tooth. So provisionalization also should be done with utmost care. The next problem in a mechanical failure is of occlusal problems. So interfering centric and eccentric occlusal contacts can cause excess tooth mobility, irreversible pulpal damage. So these are the manifestations, and how do we manage this? Is when detected early, occlusal adjustment should be done to eliminate these interferences without permanent damage. Occasionally, a combination of excessive mobility and reduced bone support require extraction of abutment teeth. Irreversible pulpal damage requires endodontic treatment. So coming to the next type of mechanical failure, that is loss of retention. A prosthesis can become loose from an abutment tooth, and if this occurs, it is not detected early, extensive caries often develop. Method of detection. Patient's awareness of looseness or sensitivity to temperature or sweets may experience bad taste or odor. So these all complaints, when the patient tells us, we have to be very careful about whether or not there is a loss of retention. So we should examine clinically, and we should try to unseat the existing prosthesis by lifting retainers up and down occlusocervically while they are being held between fingers, and curved explorer placed under the connector. So any micro mobility also should be taken into account and treated likewise. If a casting is loose, occlusal motion causes fluids to be drawn under the casting, and when it is reseated with cervical force, fluid is expressed, producing bubbles of air. Bubbles as air and liquid are simultaneously displaced. So you can see here that when we try to move this, there is, you can see here, fluid movement on this particular margins, which indicates that the FPD is loose. So management includes removal of the prosthesis, evaluation of the abutment. If there are caries, restoration. If there is a improper preparation form, we have to modify and fabricate a new restoration. If the span length is excessive or occlusal forces are heavy, then a removable partial denture may be the only satisfactory solution. Coming to the next type, that is connector failure. A connector between an abutment and retainer or pontic, there can be failure because of under occlusal forces, internal porosity in cast or soldered connectors. When this fracture occurs, pontics are placed in cantilever relationship with retainer casting, and this can allow excessive forces to be developed on the abutment tooth. So how do we manage this? Prosthesis should be removed and remade as soon as possible. An inlay like dovetailed preparation can be developed in metal to span fracture site, and casting can be cemented to stabilize the prosthesis. Pontic can be removed by cutting through the intact connectors and temporary RPD inserted to maintain the existing space and satisfy aesthetic requirements. So a connector, if it is not properly fabricated, it can fracture under the occlusal load, or if there is a porosity, again that is a cause of connector failure. So when this particular fracture occurs, so pontics are placed in a cantilevered relationship to allow the excessive and that allows their forces to get transferred to the abutment tooth in excessive amount. So this can cause abutment breakdown also. So this is how we can manage the connector failure as shown in the picture or the diagram. The next is occlusal wear. Now this occlusal wear can occur because of heavy chewing forces and clenching or bruxing or parafunctional habits. Now casting perforation can lead to leakage, can lead to caries and prosthesis failure. If perforation is detected early, A gold or amalgam restoration can be placed to seal the area. If metal surrounding perforation is extremely thin, a new prosthesis should be fabricated. In mouths in which occlusal wear is anticipated, better to place metal over occluding surfaces when natural teeth or metallic restorations are present in the opposing arch. The next type of failure is very much catastrophic, that is tooth fracture or coronal fractures. Now, what are the causes? Excessive tooth preparation, leaving insufficient tooth structure to resist the occlusal forces, use of restorative material which was not retained in sound dentine with pins, presence of interfering centric and eccentric occlusal contacts, heavy occlusal forces on a properly adjusted restoration, attempting to forcefully seat a improperly seating prosthesis, incorrect unseating of a cemented bridge, around inlays and partial veneer crowns as a result of increasing brittleness of tooth structure with age. So these are the reasons for tooth fracture. There can be porcelain fractures also. Now porcelain fractures can occur both with metal ceramic and all ceramic crown restorations. Metal ceramic porcelain failures are basically made due to the framework design. Sharp angles or extremely rough and irregular areas over veneering area points are the points of stress concentration. They cause crack propagation and ceramic fracture. Now perforations in the metal can also cause failure. Now again, the sharp angles, rough surface, perforations cause stress concentrations, they cause crack propagation and lead to ceramic fracture. When the facial veneer is there, porcelain fracture results from framework design that allows centric occlusal contact on or immediately next to metal ceramic junction. So this is a metal ceramic junction, and if we place a centric contact on this junction or just next to it, it will place unnecessary forces, and this can cause the failure of the bond and this ceramic can chip off. So when angle between the veneering surface and non-veneered aspects of casting is less than 90 degrees, it allows occlusal force to cause localized burnishing of metal and distortion and premature porcelain fracture. So the angle between veneering surface and the non-veneered aspect should be more than 90 degrees or obtuse. Now coming to occlusion, again and again we are seeing that occlusion plays a major role, especially in the mechanical failures. Heavy occlusal forces or habits such as clenching and bruxism can cause failure. Centric occlusal interferences create deflective contact of opposing teeth and cause premature fracture of the porcelain. Metal handling procedures. Metal contamination due to improper handling during casting, finishing or application of porcelain. Formation of bubbles at metal ceramic junction when porcelain is applied, creating stress and possibly crack. Separation of porcelain from metal has been observed in cases of severe contamination. Excessive oxide formation on alloy surface can also cause separation of porcelain from metal. Now coming to the next aspect, that is repair of the fractured metal ceramic restorations. The best method is to fabricate a new prosthesis. If at all you want to repair, you can repair with composite resins. You can also create a pin retained metal casting 0.2 to 0.3 mm thick out of metal ceramic alloy to fit over the existing metal framework. This patchwork can be also done casted and then cemented. Now coming to facial cervical fracture. Fracture of facial cervical porcelain often assumes a semilunar form, generally occurs with short preparations. The incisor cervical length of preparation should be 2/3 to 3/4 that of the final restoration. When the preparation is short, forces applied at the incisal edge attempt to tip the restoration facially, causing the cervical facial fracture. Now coming to lingual fractures, semilunar lingual fractures are observed. Occlusion is located cervically to the cingulum of preparation, where forces on the porcelain are more shear in nature and not well resisted. Other lingual fractures are result of inadequate lingual reduction, less than 1 mm of porcelain is present. Exceptionally heavy occlusal forces also can cause lingual fractures even when adequate porcelain thickness is present. So this finishes the mechanical failures. Now coming to the aesthetic failures. Aesthetic failures of ceramic restoration often are due to poor color match, and that is the one factor which cannot be corrected, and the entire process has to be remade. The causes for unacceptable color match can be many, like inability to match patient's natural teeth with available porcelain colors, inadequate shade selection, metamerism, insufficient tooth reduction, failure to properly apply and fire porcelain, creating a restoration which does not match the shade guide itself or surrounding teeth, incorrect form or framework design that displays metal, age changes in natural tooth over the year. Partial veneer restorations can be aesthetically unacceptable because of overextension of finish line facially. This displays excessive amount of metal. When thin incisors are prepared, metallic color of partial coverage casting may be visible to the remaining tooth structure, that is grayness. Marginal fit or cervical form of prosthesis can promote plaque accumulation, gingival inflammation, and unnatural soft tissue color or form that is aesthetically unacceptable. Now after we see all types of failure, let us see how to remove the failed prosthesis. The removal of the prosthesis can be carried out by straight chisel and mallet technique, reverse mallet technique, and by using crown removers. There is also something called as Amirol or ritual technique, that is we have certain type of a ritual crown removal, and that crown remover can be used for removal of the crowns. There are various types of crown removers, such as golden west crown remover, which has a hole cut in occlusal of posterior units. A hollow core tap threaded both inside and outside is tapped through the sized opening and against the tooth structure. So likewise we remove the crown, and then the best method that can be used if everything fails, sectioning and prying method. But this is the most destructive method. This will not give you a salvageable prosthesis. You have to remake the prosthesis. So a round end carbide burr is used. So here we finish with the topic, and these are the references, and I hope that you have learnt, and the further reading will definitely help you in mastering this subject of how to manage the failures in fixed prosthodontics. Thank you very much.